Namaste, guys. Phoenix here. I hope you all are doing well. I hope you all are amazing. Oh, my water. I hope you all are treating yourselves great. Happy Tuesday. Today is associated with the planet Mars. I think it's Tuesday. I think so, yeah. Today is associated with the planet Mars. I did want to talk to you all about the greatest gift that I can give you, the greatest teaching that I can teach you, the greatest help I can ever help you with. The gift that I can give you is the gift of meditation. That's what my guides gave to me, and this is something that I'm hoping that I share this with you and you can gain some deeper understanding regarding meditation, okay? And so I had a subscriber. Thank you for subscribing. To a lot of my new subscribers, thank you for being here. This is a safe space for you, okay? We talk about healing, all things metaphysical, psychologically, because it's all intertwined together. We talk about wholeness, what it looks like psychologically, emotionally, in your outside reality, right? We talk about the teachings of the Bible, the Hermetica, 111. The time is now 111. We talk about things like that here, and we talk about shadow work, how to go deep within the layers, how to remove them, right? I experience it, and then I come on here and share it with you all. And so the young lady, she asked me about being connected more, like how can she tap more into your abilities. And the honest thing is time. Time, yes, it is very illusionary, right? But it takes spaces in order, it takes growth, okay? Meaning, like, you need to have a numerous amount of experiences in whatever field, what study that you are in. I'm faced this way because Raven wants to sit in this drawer. Girl, tell me some no. She wants to sit in this drawer, and so we sharing this spot together. Okay, and so so you know how, like, in order for you to remember how to use your gifts, know that you are using them correctly, you need to have a lot of times doing it, right? So say for instance, if you clairaudient, you need to have experience doing the clairaudient, and then you may even have a dream that shows you how you've been using it unknowingly, or you may get the vision showing you how you have been using it unknowingly, and then you'll be like, oh, okay, so you have to cultivate enough time so the signs and synchronicities can add up for you, right? And so that's something, because yesterday I put in a reading that the healing, all the healing that I have done when I got the realization yesterday about the Trinity, it's all within me. It's, you know, this is something that I knew already, right? But the realization, like, the reality of it hit me to where it was just like, yeah, like, and then had spirit not, if spirit wouldn't have, or if I didn't get shown how many times I've healed and helped others and helped myself, I would have never realized that I was actually already doing it. Hope that makes sense, okay? And so, but this is about meditation, okay? And so I'm hoping that this can help you be able to come to a deeper space of awareness with your meditation, okay? A lot of gurus, meditation people, they often tell you to quiet the mind, to ignore the mind, to not pay any attention. And a lot of times, especially if you experience inner monologue, that's kind of impossible to tell that to be quiet, right? And so I struggle with that in the beginning of me meditating. That was something that was very challenging for me. Okay, it was challenging to the sense of, to where I just would sit there and just pretty much listen to I would just sit there and listen to the chatter. I was just like, okay, like eventually it'll be quiet. Sometimes I'll follow it. Sometimes I wouldn't. Sometimes I'll be defending myself in my meditation. Sometimes I just was like, you know, I'm tired of this. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know if this is right. But I just still sat there, right? And so I later found out that is exactly how you do it, right? That is exactly what you need to do. This is really doing what it needs to do. I am so grateful, but I do not want to turn on my sprinklers. Hold on. Yeah, it's doing exactly what I want, but I do not want to turn on my sprinklers in here. But anyway, that is exactly it. You just sit there, right? But now that I've gained more understanding about the mind, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychiatrist, I am not a psychologist, but my guides, this inner compass that I have, has me studying the brain, the mind, all of these other different centers and places in the body. And plus, I always loved to do stuff like that. Even as a kid, I liked to study deep stuff, get books about how the eyes work and stuff like that. My mom used to be like, this kid is I just get the weirdest things from the library because it just sparked my curiosity, and I would just look at the pages, look at the pictures of it or whatever. And so you have to understand what the mind is, right? And so the mind is a energy center, right? It's a field, an energy field. The mind isn't up in the brain area, right? That is only the brain. But the mind communicates the energy of the brain. The energy of the mind. The brain communicates the energy of the mind, okay? Because the brain is like the central processing unit, right? The CPU, right? And so the mind is the program, right? So the mind is many lifetimes, ancestral, communicable, right? Of your lived experiences. That's what the mind is, right? And you have to be able to understand that so that you can know what you are dealing with. Wow, I just heard understanding the enemy. This is why my guides sometimes call me the Constantine. I don't know if you know what Constantine is. He's like an exorcist, right? My guides call me that because I have to understand energy. I need to know why the energy is here. What do it want? How has it affected me? Why is it affecting me? Who has it affected? How has it been playing out in my life? I am that type of person, right? And so I had to understand what the mind was. I had to get it, cultivate it, the knowledge of the mind, right? And that's something that's plagued scientists for years. They still don't know where the mind is, where it come from. They know that it's some type of quantum field or something, but in actuality, it's every field. It's everything of you, okay? It's everything of the collective also. And so the mind knows everything about you, about others, this lifetime, past lifetime. The mind knows it all, right? But if the mind is only focused on the heavy karmic, right? The mind could be considered Saturn, the energy of Saturn, right? It keeps replaying loops, karmic loops, until you learn the lesson, right? So that's what the mind is, right? And it's in your energy center, right? Remember, according to Spinoza, right, he is a philosopher, right? some will call a spiritual philosopher, right? He says that the mind is two sides, different sides of the same coin, right? So the body, right, heads and tails. So the body being tails, the mind being heads, 1010 on my timer. That's just another dimension, right? And so the mind, that's just what it is, right? Anything that happens in the mind happens within the mind, happens within the body, right? Because they share a coin, right? They share a singular coin, right? And so that's essentially what you're dealing with when you are silencing the mind, right? When you are attempting not to think of the mind, but the mind is like a wounded record player, right? It's like a wounded, a defected program. And actuality, the mind is very innocent. It doesn't know. It doesn't know that its experiences were not real. The mind has no idea. The only thing it knows is that it's seen hell. It experienced it, right? So that's the only thing that it knows. That's what's been programmed into the mind, right? And so it doesn't know. 11:11 just passed. It has no idea. It's not the mind's fault, right? And so the mind essentially is designed to be the worshiper of the nervous system, right? Because your nervous system, that is like the gold you. Your nervous system is your golden child, right? All of those systems, sensory wires and things like that, that is what keeps you in a state of calm, balance, relaxation, so that you can gain more of those experiences to you, right? But if you have a dysregulated nervous system, right, you won't be able to get any of those things, right? And it is the mind that either dysregulates the nervous system. 12:12 on my timer. It is the mind that makes you or breaks you. It's just what it is. That's why, you know, you have all these psychologists talking about reprogramming your unconscious, subconscious mind. That was one of the things that I knew to instantly do 6 years ago. Okay, I instantly knew to reprogram my subconscious mind. I don't know how I knew. I just knew because I, you know, was Carl Jung. And as I said before, I didn't have a teacher. The Holy Spirit, the Great Spirit, Mother, Father, Goddess. That's the energy that taught me, right? And what taught me mediumship is my ancestors, my loved ones who has crossed over. They taught me mediumship. Okay, that's what. And you have to understand this. Okay. The all that is, the God, the Most High, the Creator, okay, that energy right there in itself, we all exist within it, okay? We all are that, right? It is no separation from us. You are not separate from me. What resides inside of me resides inside of you. It comes from the all, right? Just like our relatives who have crossed over, right? They are us, but don't have a body, which you will be going back to that space also, right? This is a very limited time here, right? You will go back to that space also, right? So that's how you have to think about that, right? So you're not scaring yourself due to your program, right? And a lot of your blocks and your limitations, they come from the mind, right? So it often keeps you from knowing your truth, right? That mind is like that gatekeeper that says, no, I don't want you to learn this because we have certain fears about this. Sometimes you have fears about things and you don't even know why you have those fears, right? That's because the mind remembers something from a past life, right? Yeah, so that was something that I wanted to tell you, talk to you all about. And the more that you meditate, the more you're able to calm the mind, right? The more the mind, the more you do shadow work, the more you heal yourself, the more you release things of the subconscious, right? The more you heal the mind, the more you reprogram the mind, right? The deeper your meditations will be, because you don't have those things of the mind looping over and over again in your energy field. 1444 on my timer. You won't have that anymore, right? That's how you're able to gain deeper states of awareness inside of your meditation, right? Because you remove certain energetic cords from the mind, right? And so that was one of the things that I wrote about last night. And the mind is divine. That is the one that you show grace to. Okay, that is the one that you show grace to, right? Because you are essentially what it's looking for. You are its helper, right? Just like the Most High is your helper, right? You are here on behalf of your mind, right? You are taking all of the worries, the fears, the hurt, the shame, the sorrow, the guilt to the Most High on behalf of the mind, right? So say, for instance, just like how kings and queens do, right? People come to kings and queens with their woes and their problems, right? Asking them to heal it. Just like if you were to go to a church, right? And you go to the preacher and ask the preacher for help, right? But oftentimes the church is so, I digress with that, but nothing outside of you saves you. You are it, okay? And so, that was something to understand what you're dealing with, okay? As far as the mind, you have to know what it is, right? And so I have two things here. I have about the inner monologue, right? And if you are that type of person who speaks within, you experience your world within, right? Something happened to you as a child that caused you to go within, right? And remember, when you have reprogramming, right? This is just a reprogramming, right? Something that you did last lifetime followed you into this lifetime, right? And so whoever did it to you as a child, they're doing their job. And their job is to make sure that you stay into balance, that you heal what needs to be healed, right? Especially if you are a healer, right? That is what you do. You have to heal these ancestral lineage, right? Even collective, right? You heal those things, right? And so whatever, that's how you forgive others. You give them grace, right? Because they are purposefully, perfectly doing exactly what it is that they need to do. The Most High is beautiful. The creation is beautiful. Everything is designed purposely, okay? And so that was another thing that I just heard Spirit say. And then with the inner monologue, right? Sometimes the inner monologue can be streams of words that commentary, right? Rehearsals. I'm going to do this first, and then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do that, right? And then sometimes they can feel like a narrator is always speaking to you. And so I find that I am that way. I've been that way since I was a child, that I can remember, because I used to be very outgoing. I used to do all types of things, be in all types of plays, all types of shows. Even as I got into high school, I did a lot of Broadway acting, singing. I was always in front of the spotlight, so to speak. And so I don't know, when I said that, when my son passed away, and today is the day he passed away. He passed away 9918, the 999. Today is 999, the year of the 9, right? And so I understood that I was clearing out cycles with him, and this was his last lifetime. His soul cycle was complete. And so I'm honored to be able to carry that light. That is like one of my guides also, okay? And so I got something down there. So I became aware that I speak within myself. I had no idea when I left out of the military, I started speaking within myself. I didn't know where the hell it was coming from. I knew that I had completely lost it. And so I went to the military clinic, like my third deployment, I believe, the third or fourth deployment. I had went to the military clinic, and I was getting ready to get out of the military. And I said last night, told the doctor that I sat up all night speaking within me about my experience. And it just kept replaying the traumatic experience in the military. It kept doing it over and over and over again. And I lived with that all of this time. It had been years. And then I want to say like 13 years later, my son passed away. And then it became double. And then I started picking up on the collective. I started picking up on the spirits. I started picking up on everything and everyone and everybody. And it was crazy. I didn't know what was going on. I was like, oh my God, what is this? But I understood that that could have been the beginning. Something traumatic like that happening to you can often send you into another dimension, to where you become aware that, hey, there isn't just you, right? And that's what the inner monologue is. It is the inner version of you, right? That mind version of you, the body that has a voice, the body that remembers, right? Even though you have different bodies when you come into another incarnation, right? But the energetic body, that is what is usually is speaking to you from the mind space, right? Because according to the all, there is no self, right? But the mind believes itself to be something because it associates itself with the body, right? That's another thing. You have to understand what you are, right? You have to get into these religious texts and replace Jesus, replace Moses, replace Solomon and all them other people in these religious texts with you, okay, with your divine self, okay, because that is what you are. You are the divine, right? And so you're going to have to reprogram the mind that way. That was another thing that happened to me. I had to start, like, my guys just kept dropping religious material in front of me, and I was just like, why am I reading this? Like, this isn't going to help me. Until I finally, like, people names, the synchronicities kept, like, Jeremiah this. You need to read Romans this. Like, things like that was happening to me, to where I could be walking down the street and I'll see a sign that says Romans, and I'll get the chills. And I'll be like, what the fuck? Like, what is that? And I started meeting little kids named Messiah. Like children, little boys. I would meet them and I was like, oh my God, hi. And they would just come over to me, randomly start talking to me, and I'll ask them their name. Oh, my name is Messiah. And I'll be like, oh my God. Until I had a Kundalini experience. And then after that Kundalini energy, I had an experience with the Holy Spirit, to where Yahusha, that was the energy that showed me I and it were one and the same. We were no separation. Okay, and so that experience happened to me. And then I got serious because I said, okay, I need to pay attention to this, right? And so you're going to have to understand what that inner chatter is, where it comes from, why is it there, right? Okay, and so some of your gifts, there's gifts to the inner chatter, trust me, because my clairaudient is amazing. I can write, my writing skills, my poetry, it's amazing. It's like Shakespeare says, like, the world is people are actors and the world is its stage, okay? I write in a form to where all of my experiences, like all the individual versions of me, right? They have different characters in my book. Okay, I'm looking at my teeth because I'm using a different tooth stuff. And but anyway, in this mirror there, like, wait, okay, but anyway. And so that is how my clairaudient works. I am a very visual learner. I learn by looking at things. Like, I can see something being done and I can replicate it over and over again, okay? Hearing, I listen to podcasts, I listen to lectures and things like that, and I can see how it played out in my life, in my clairvoyant space. I can see clairvoyantly things that I read. When I listen to podcasts or lectures or when people put up videos about the brain, the heart, how it works, I can see it working already in my imagination space. I can see how the blood is created in the bone marrow. Like, I get visionary things like that, to where it just flows like that just by me listening to it. Okay. Yeah, that's how it works for me. Okay. And so I can hear my guides, right? I hear them speaking within me. Okay. It's just like, but I can tell the difference, right? The difference is it's not fearful. It's not, oh my God, like what. It doesn't have a strict voice to it, a teacher voice. You need to do this, you need to do that. It's more of a soft flow. Like yesterday when I was in the bath, I was going into another meditation, and I try to practice like meditation at least like every day, but like 3 times I'll give myself to do it, to see if I can get deeper. If I can get deeper, okay, get into that 0 point state. And so I'll get in that space for about like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And yesterday I was coming up out of it, and I heard the most beautiful voice say, keep going, you got it, keep going, let it flow, let it flow. It wanted me to witness what was happening. It wanted me to bear witness to the mind concern, complaints, right? It wanted me to witness that, but my body was trying to come out of it because the body didn't want to face it, right? The body felt like it was too much for it, right? But the guide, my higher self that I had with me while in this meditation, was saying, keep going, you got it. And I was able to stay with the energy that the mind was presenting to me to be released. I witnessed it, right? And so that's what the mind wants. It wants to be talked to. It wants to be heard. It wants to explain why the way that it is. The mind wants redemption, right? The mind is like what spirit? Thank you for that. You know, when Ascended Master Yahushua was getting crucified, right? The mind is the person, the thief, right? On the right side, I don't know which side it was. The mind is the thief on one side, and the mind could be the murderer on the other side, saying like, well, if you really who you are, what you say you are, then I'm gonna be beside you anyway, right? Like, I don't give a fuck, I'm just gonna be me, right? And then the mind could be the thief on the other side, like, remember me, right? It confessed, right? And so that's what the mind does. That's what it wants when you go into meditation. That's like you and the time for the mind. It's you and the mind's time. It's like, okay, it's all 3 of us together, right? It's just like, but you're working on behalf of the mind, right? You're giving it speech. You're giving it chance to speak its piece, right? Because it doesn't know any better. It just doesn't. And so you're there to give it grace. You're there to listen to it with an open heart. You're there to listen to it with sympathy. And when you do that for yourself, you can do that for others, right? Because you've done it spiritually, right? Your imagination space, that's spiritual, okay? And so you remember what Albert Einstein said, like, a man with no imagination is a fool lost in this world. However he said it, but he speaks about that, okay? I love Albert Einstein. Been trying to solve his theory of relativity too. Like, he's missing something, and I've been anyway. But some of the challenges that you have with an inner monologue, right? You got that the chatter, the anxiety, right? The repetition, right, of the talk. Your intuition could be a little bit shrouded by all of that other heaviness, right? Okay, and so, like I said, you must learn to witness that voice, right? You must learn to witness it and become aware of it, even throughout your day, when it starts to get fearful, when it starts to blame itself. Understand, it's blaming itself. Thank you, Spirit. It's not blaming you, because there is no you. It's blaming itself, okay? Because there is a separate. The mind doesn't know that it. The mind doesn't know that it does not exist. It only believes that it exists because of its experience. So it personalized its experience, right? So the mind doesn't know that those experiences were illusions, essentially, right? The mind doesn't know that. It takes it to be real because it happened to it, right? You can't like take away the lived experience of the mind, right? So it doesn't know, and you can often take it as yours because it's coming from you, right? Sometimes it can feel like it's coming from your head. Mine doesn't come from my head. Mine's come from my outside space. Only thing that comes from my head is my military experiences. That whole experience that comes from my head. So I understand that my brain is still processing it, right? Okay, so I understand that about myself. And so if you don't have inner monologue and you're trying to meditate, it may be hard for you to sit there, and you may feel not good. You may feel sleepy. You may feel tired. You may feel nauseated. You may feel like like this ain't it. You just may get the feelings, right? Stomach may start hurting, body limbs may start hurting and stuff like that. And you are there to witness those pains and pings and things that's going on within the body, right? Because you may not have mental karma that needs to be cleared, right? You may have emotional karma that needs to be healed, right? And so you are there to bear witness to it. That is what your meditation is all about. So when you go into the meditation with the intention on bearing witness, right? You don't worry about hearing from spirit, right? Because that will automatically come, right? What you're there to do is witness the mind. You're there to comfort it, right? And then the messages will come, right? You will be able to get messages, will be able to come in, because what you're doing is, thank you, spirit, you are getting the feel between what's the mind and what's spirit, right? So the more you sit with your thoughts, you don't even have to go into meditation. You can just sit with yourself throughout the day by yourself. No TV, no social media, okay? I hope that isn't so loud. No TV, no social media, just nothing, and just sit with yourself. Allow, face your demons. What Carl Jung said, you have to invite your demons to lunch, to breakfast, lunch, or dinner. You have to just sit with it, okay? So you can feel it, understand what it's saying, right? So the more you get used to how it talks, right, the more you'll be able to discern what is spirit, what is your guides. You'll be able to understand that more, okay? And so that was something that came up. Something that came up in my dream that the collective is hearing, healing. You'll be hearing this about currency. Currency is the undercurrent. And so currency, remember, currency is money, it's the flow. And so the more you detach from what comes in and what comes out, stop keeping tabs on it, right? That's just something that came up when I was in that awake/dream state. I have to like pay attention to that self, yes. Dang, my guys are raw. They snuck that in on me. I have to pay attention to that self that does that. Pay attention to how she spends the money, because I noticed that that's been happening lately. And I'm like, but I never noticed it before. I never noticed that I was in that energy of watching how I spend money. I never noticed that. I just usually just spend money, and I just usually I over tip, I overgive. Yeah, like I tip like the waiters like $25 and $30, and my son be like, Mom, do you have to? Yeah, I do, because they'll, I don't know. Let me shut up. But anyway, but recently I've been paying attention to how I spend money, how money is leaving out of my pocket. And I was like, why am I doing that? And so I guess that was a dream. Money is the undercurrent. It comes and it goes. You just have to let it go. If it goes, it goes, right? You just know that it will be returned to you. So if you are experiencing that, that's going to be a shift in your finances, okay? I just saw like purple and rainbows from out the corner of my eyes, and I don't have nothing right here to simulate that. That was so crazy. Archangel Raziel is here. Okay, Metatron. Oh. I gotta take my little mushroom supplements. Okay, and so what else came up? Oh, I had a dream about like frames, like mirror frames. And so it's just like you're being emptied out, right? That was something that I got. Or maybe somebody is buying mirrors. I'm sorry, buying windows or buying mirrors. That was something that I saw in my dream space, where like it was just window frames, but there were no mirror in it. There were no windows in it. And there were mirrors, frames, but no mirrors in it. So that is like, for me, that spirit is emptying you, okay? Because you are in a transitional change. And then the moth flew in my house last night, and Raven just would not come to bed because she was trying to get up to the ceiling and get them off. I just left her out here because, you know, Raven got her own personality. Raven showed me that she was an Ascended Master. She also showed me she's a Black Panther in the spirit realm. And so, yeah. I'll leave Raven alone. Like, I don't, yeah. And then the songs that I heard, the Waking Up, Final Countdown. It's the final countdown. I heard that, Waking Up, okay. I heard Lupe Fiasco, Superstar. I also heard Maxwell, something about Maxwell. You can do a little something, and then the song Get to Know Ya. So it's like your higher self is asking to get to know you, or the mind wants to get, you want to get to know the mind. I don't know, spirit wants to get to know you. You have a new guide, okay? And they are here with you, okay? I heard a teacher guide, okay? And I also got like, go outside and play. The inner child, that came through also, wants to go outside and play. Because I saw like a little girl and a little boy, but they were littler than everybody else, all the other children. They were really little, and they were doing everything that the bigger kids was doing. And I was just admiring them, like, wow, look how, like, look at them go. Like, it was just the cutest thing. So, and upon waking up, I heard like, your inner child wants to play. And I was like, okay, like, let me find something to do. Okay, I don't know, I'm gonna find something to do today. I'll probably go bowling or something, but I hope this helped you all. Y'all know I can ramble, okay? I be trying not to. I be trying to get to the message, but Spirit just be having me talking because, you know, Spirit be coming out also, okay? These words just don't be my own. Y'all know I be channeling. Okay, look, I split the deck on. And then Flow is here. Like, just flow and split the deck, like, because I just allow Spirit to, you know, do what it needs to do. Yeah, because, you know, essentially that's what we are, right? We are vessels, and we don't run shit. The ego doesn't run anything. I promise you, we don't run nothing. Y'all gonna learn that. But anyway, I'm gonna get out this energy. If you need any help, you need any assistance, if you need any personal readings, if you need any shadow integration, I do healings, I do energy healings, I do personal readings, I do, like I said, shadow integration help. So yeah, namaste, take care, I love you, bye.